Hello, everybody. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon. I'm Martin Cross. This is Crossy's Corner, and in Crossy's Corner today, we have the sensational stroke man of the Swiss pair, Andrin Gulich.
Hi, Martin. Thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, that's fantastic. You are an absolute star. Before we get into the reasons why that might be, maybe you can tell us about your day, because you're in somewhere special now.
Yeah, exactly. So this week we're kind of in a land camp training. As you know, normally we train Sarnen, which is like the performance center, or the Swiss Rowing Performance Center, which is just outside Lucerne, which probably most of the rowers know. Maybe Sarnen not that much, but it's like half an hour away, so it's very close as well. But this week, kind of second week of December, the whole Swiss rowing team, we go to Machlingen for land camp training, which is really cool. So Machlingen, it's kind of the Swiss performance center for loads, like from mainly all kind of sports. So you have the gymnasts who train here as well, all the track and field guys, even like the swimmers, I think, as well. So it's like it's really it's quite cool. It kind of reminds me of the campus in the US. It's really cool, like seeing all the different athletes over here. So this is the week we always here just to change it up a bit. So obviously we bring our erg, so there's ergs already here, so it's loads of mileage on the erg, and in the weights room. But at the same time, it's kind of fun mixing up, having some more playful training sessions like basketball, or we played volleyball yesterday, so it's really fun. But it gets you fit as well, which is good.
So, what's your ball skills like as a rower? Because sometimes people think rowers are no good at ball skills.
Oh, I'm not different at all. I think many rowers would say the same thing. That there's a reason I'm a rower. As many other kids, or like as most kids, at least in Switzerland, I'm sure as well in England. I tried my skills at football at a young age, but I was all right. But I was better without the ball than with the ball. So
Yeah.
I came to rowing, but nevertheless, I enjoyed it a lot. Like that's the fun thing as well. Like those kind of games, as long as you don't play them super seriously, or like they don't have to be serious, right? They just have to be fun, and you get your heart rate up as well. So it's kind of a good training as well, and it's just fun. And I think one side of it is the team building effect of it as well. Having literally the whole team here, so we're like all like with the lightweights and all the women as well. So about just a bit over 20 guys. So it's team building as well, and it's cool seeing the other guys in a different sport, and it's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
So I'm guessing either at some stage you're going to do a test at the end of this week, or something on the erg. I don't know what length it might be, but is that how it goes?
It's not. No, it's not at the end of this week. It's next week, just kind of the last week before Christmas, where we train. Where we're back in Sarna, but there we have like a 2K test in the year, which is kind of the reason as well why we're here in the area. But like it prepares us for that, so it's good prep for that.
Yeah, and how
But
many
here
2K?
Here we're just long steady.
How many 2K tests do you end up doing in a season?
Kind of depends. It's different from season to season. I think last year over the winter we did, was it three? Yeah, we did 3 2Ks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ian has kind of the same view, and it's like the erg is good and gets you fit, but at the end of the day, it counts what you do in the water, and I think that's where the measurement is, and I think Ian has the same view on that.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, you showed that, because obviously Tom George has got a sub 540 ergo, your opponent from the British pair, and you beat him by
it's pretty quick.
Well, over 2, almost 3 seconds this year. What's your PB
Well, in one
on
race,
the 2K?
in one race they beat
Okay.
us. They beat us before, so
Yeah, you beat them in
well.
2 races, I think.
Yeah, one wasn't 2.5 seconds there. One was
Yeah,
a lot less than
0.1.
2. They
Okay.
won at Europeans.
Yeah.
So,
What is your PB on the 2K, Andrin?
it's just 550. Oh, exactly 550. 550.1.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to get up to that sub 50. That's the goal for this year.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm sure that you'll do that. So has the glow of being world champion, has that worn off at all, or is that still with you?
Depends what you define the glow of it. I mean, I'm still
Oh, yeah.
very I'm still very proud of the race and what we achieved at the World Champs and throughout the whole season, and it really motivates me for next year. But I think if you want to define the glow as being on that high, I think both Roman and I are both very realistic, like looking at that. So that was just one race, and like everything starts again next year. So I think it would be wrong as well, still being on that glow. It's more important to keep training hard than staying on that glow. Staying on that glow doesn't win you future races.
Oh, that's definitely a
If you know what I
sportsman's answer, that is. How long did you
mean.
keep your gold medal on for?
After the race,
Yeah.
can on and off, definitely for a bit. Definitely until I saw my parents. I had to make my parents proud with the medal around it. Had to show it off there. And then I remember we had a little like kind of a gathering of the whole Swiss team, of like all the close supporters, the parents,
Yeah.
family, and friends. I kept it on there as well because obviously like they wanted it for the picture. But after that, I think I took it off as well. But even if I didn't keep it on me, in my heart, it was still in my head. In my heart, had it
Oh,
on
I
for
love
long.
that. I love that. Now, recently you were one of the nominees for World Rowing's 2023 Crew of the Year, along with the British Four and Ollie Zeidler.
Exactly. Yeah. That was
Uh,
a big honor to be nominated along those legends of our sports, or really high performance. That, like, to be honest, I didn't really expect it. So it was a big honor being up there, and a privilege as well.
so we're going to talk about your season very shortly, but of course, some news. It's not new news, but kind of old news, a few weeks old. But of course, you have new rivals in your event. The Sinkovich brothers have stopped the double. They don't think they can beat the Dutch, so I gather, and they think there's more chance of a gold medal in a pair. So I'm interested in how you and Roman and maybe Ian reacted to that, and your thoughts now.
Yeah, I think it's great news, and they're coming here trying to get the goal. Obviously, we're trying everything to not make that happen. We have a goal as well, but at the same time, I think it's great news, and you always, as a rower and as an athlete, as a racer, you want to race the best guys, and the Sinkovich have proved in the past very much that they are the best guys. Or they're like, they are the legend of our sports. I mean, when I started rowing, and was it like 2012, they were already right up there. They were like, I mean, basically them and the Kiwi pair. Those were kind of the two boats I remember
Yeah,
vividly
yeah.
looking up to, and like training of, if you like, I know if you're junior, and then like the last 250 meters in the training, you race like, oh yeah, I'm as fast as a Sinkovich, as the Kiwi pair. So it's really like those guys who we're looking up to as juniors. So now um, being able, or hopefully being able to race them, having them in the same event is great. And the biggest thing it does, like for me, it's just motivating to race the best guys. To have them in
Um,
our event. So I think it's great news. Yeah.
that's really good. I've just got to check because I'm taking this for granted. Have you been selected in the pair already because you're world champions, or do you have to go through a process? And if so, when will that be?
No, it's like every year. It's like every year. So as you know, in rowing, the qualification spot is for the boat. It's not nominative for the people. So, or on the heavyweight side, we can send so far Switzerland can send a quad and a pair. And then we have final trials about March. So that their thing is going to be set at least for the first World Cup. and then after, I think it's like a whole process from Swiss Olympic, the federation, when they select you. So no, we're not set in that boat and the people, but we'll see. But
Yeah,
it's a goal of mine to stay in the pair, and it worked well last season. So I think it'd be a good way to go forward. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I think people listening might be, oh wow, you know, how can they not be the selected pair? But I guess that's the way Swiss rowing or Ian Wright wants to play things.
Yeah, I mean that's if you ask Ian, maybe he has a bit of a different answers, and at the end of the day, he's him and the Swiss selectors are the ones, like basically him, the ones who select. So like I me personally, I can't really give an answer. Maybe he can give a more distinctive one. But for me, it's the way rowing works. So that, like it's always worked like that for me every season, and I think it's a good thing as well in rowing, because like the internal kind of rivalry you have in the team, like it motivates you, like to work on yourself every day very hard. So I think there's no problem with it that we're
Yeah.
not selected. It doesn't really matter what kind of boat we'll be in on the start line. The training at the moment is going to be the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
So you had some incredible races in the 2023 season. I guess when you started about this time of year back in 2022, you've been in the four in the Richichi World Championships and finished fifth
Exactly.
in that.
Yeah.
Did you have
That's
any
right, yeah.
idea of what boat you might be in for the following season?
No, I think that project, kind of, because the four of us with Joe as well, like we kind of, like, there was a not last minute project, but later on in the season in the project, because as you know, Roman was in Oxford. I
Yeah.
finished my studies at Yale. Tim was at Cal. So we didn't do any World Cups, right? We were only formed, was it end of June, I think, just around the Lucerne World Cup, being of Lucerne. So we only did Europeans and World Champs last year. But so it was the first kind of international race for all four of us in the new Olympic cycle. So going into that, I think that was kind of the project, or one project we looked at, and we might follow on for Paris. But then again, same as now in the winter, like in many other programs, because back then we also had a quad, so it's like 11 heavyweight guys in a team, or like train constantly in the team, but obviously in the whole Switzerland there's more. But then came around trials last March. We tried out loads of different combinations, and there wasn't even an option to do that because Tim was still at Cal, continuing his studies. So that four and that combination wasn't an option for at least the first World Cup. So we did the pair doing trials, and it went quite well. And then Ian and the team decided to give us a shot in the pair, and then we did well there, and then kind of developed further, so we could kept staying in the pair. But in doing, like, in Rajice, that wasn't. It was more. If you would have asked me in Rajice, I would have said the four is probably the project. Yeah, but
so this is Ian Wright's second spell in Switzerland. I don't know if you knew him at all when he was coaching in 2016. You must have come across him, but I just wondered what you first made of him when you met him and he started talking to you about all these nasty training sessions he makes you do. And
no, I had kind of similar to, a bit later in my stage as a junior, but kind of similar to what I talked before about the Kiwi pair and the Sinkovic. He was one of those like big legend of the sport. So when he came to Switzerland in 2015, which was my kind of second year under 17, where I went to the Coupe de la Jeunesse, and then where I really first met him was 2016. We did the juniors, we did the 8. That was kind of the project for that Worlds, was in Rotterdam. And he obviously trained coached the lightweight 4, and he was really successful with that. So all the juniors looked up to that 4 and him as a coach. and he came from New Zealand, right, where he was the under 23 coach of the successful under 23 eight, which he won, I think, twice in a row. The World's under 23 Worlds, so he was obviously good eights coach as well. And I remember like a couple of times before Munich was the first regatta of that season in the eight, and him and the junior coach Anna Marie Havald, they both together, because he was finished already coaching with the elite. So he came on that, jumped on the launch with Anna Marie and coaches a bit. And I just remember saying, "Oh, like you look like a bunch of monkeys. I'm not going to send you like this to regatta. Let me show you. I'm going to tell you how to row properly." So he was that tough guy. But in that one session he helped us a lot already. Like maybe not even like so much just technical input, but just having him there as like the big coach who made so many boats in the past successful, kind of gave an impact on us young juniors. So like we want like having him in the boat, we wanted to pull really hard, and it was a great motivating factor. And then we were racing Munich, and I think we were a bit lucky with the draw, and there was a side wind and then the grandstand in Munich, it can be a bit unfair, but so we were lucky with the draw, but we were able to make the luck happen. And then we pulled that through the Brits, the last 300, and won that race in Munich. So it was really fun. And then the funniest thing is that Vlad Shaigu, who was the cox at Yale, after he was like a very good friend of mine. I remember him posting, because was it the day before? Oh, I think they beat, because you have two races in Munich, and I think the first race we lost, or the second race we lost. So the one we lost to the Brits, I remember him posting a picture up on Instagram and saying like, "Oh, if only the Swiss could row as well as to do chocolate."
Oh no, that's terrible. You don't do things like that.
Nah, it was all right. I mean, I love that. I mean, he's a really good friend of mine. So, but it was fun when we ended up being at the same university, him Cox and me. But yeah, no, that was the first kind of impression or meeting I had with Ian. And he coached us a couple of times in that eight, and it was always really, really good having a coach and just his presence. And obviously what he's done with the four, coaching winning in Rio after the gold medal. It's the first gold medal since Christina Miller, and in a big boat. I don't know I don't know even if Switzerland ever had a gold medal in a big boat before that, to be honest. At the Olympics, at least I know it was. So he was obviously very successful, and then he helped the Swiss team a lot in general. So when he came back last year in 2022, when he came up, obviously I was very happy, and having him back was a big motivation for me to train in the team and do the best.
He's got quite distinctive ideas about technique and how you paddle. I remember myself and Greg Searle, we went down to the Zagreb course where you were there for the first World Cup, and we saw you paddling.
Yeah.
And you've got this quite exaggerated pause at the finish to let the boat.
You can't pause.
Could you explain that to people watching, what it's about?
I couldn't really tell you, to be honest, because I've been in team with him, or like having him as a head coach for nearly 2 years, and I can't remember actually a single time us telling we should do a pause at the end.
You're joking, really?
No, I think it's just the way, like, it comes as you'd have to ask him, to be honest, but like maybe it's as a consequence of the way like he wants us to pull hard, or like, or for me personally, we don't do that. Maybe we did that at the beginning of the season a bit more exaggerated than at the end, and then or like in some sessions we have it more than the others. But for me, like it's not a pause. Like maybe you said that before. It's not a pause. It's a gathering, right? I think Steve said that as well at Yale. So, but that's how I see it as well. Really, the taking the blade out, or the finish of the stroke, the last bit is really where he sent the boat off, right? It's like the fastest, like right after after he released the boat, it's the fastest the boat goes. So it's really not, it's about not stopping the boat there. So having it get a pause and coming together to be ready for the next stroke kind of makes sense in my head as well. And
Yeah.
That's how we do it. But we don't deliberately do a pause there.
Very interested. So you did so many races in 2023. You raced in Zagreb. I think you raced in the Europeans. You raced at World Cup 2. You raced at World Cup 3, and then of course the World Championships. So that was different to some teams, like say the team from the Netherlands or the team from Great Britain. How come you did all those races? What was the plan?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've been on like elite level in the Swiss team only one like a full year. I've done the Racice and the Munich Europeans the year before, but like a whole year on elite level, I only did the Tokyo year. And we did all the 5 races as well. And as far as I can remember, the Swiss team kind of always goes to all 5 big races. And I'm a very big fan of that. And to be totally honest, I think it's even too little races. I mean, we train so like all rowers train so much all year long, and we only have 5 races. So I think it's like I would be happy to even do more races like that. At the end of the day, that's what we train for, right? The races. So without
love that.
without knowing like the plan of the other teams, I don't really understand why you wouldn't go to the races and like give so much time in the winter and the fall. And like some people say, oh, maybe you lose a bit your endurance and stuff, but I mean it's a balance at the end of the day, right, between like building that endurance space but having race experience as well. And as an athlete and as a racer, I think if you only have 5 races, do every race you can.
Yeah. So you won that first race. You beat the Spanish in Zagreb. It wasn't particularly well attended, which was a great shame because I thought it was a really nice course. But then you were in Bled for the Europeans, which was amazing.
It was a good race. Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah. You did you catch a crab or did Roman catch a crab?
In the final, well, it was us. It's always us in the boat. You know, there's not a single one who catches a crab. You catch a crab together.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But it was but it was. Let me say, it was on port side, on stroke side.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. So and despite
But yeah,
that,
no.
you remained in the race. So this was kind of your first big contest because you're racing the British. You're facing the Spanish, who were the silver medalists in 22, and you've beaten them at Zagreb. But you're coming up against the might of Ollie Wynne-Griffith and Tom George, who obviously are quite imposing as a pair. They're physically very big guys, and Tom George has got this big ergometer score under his belt.
Well, both
How
of
do
them,
you
yeah,
feel?
Ollie as well.
Yeah. How do you feel racing the British pair?
I mean, first of all, I think the first World Cup for us, like it wasn't in general, it wasn't maybe not that well attended. But for us, it was a very big race. First of all, it was the first race for us on the pair, and the competition I think was good as well with the Spanish being silver medalists from the year before, the Serbians
Danes.
who got the Danes who got second in Tokyo. Obviously, they were out of the boat for a bit, but the Serbians who got fourth in Racice and Turkey as well. So I think for us it was really good racing those guys already in the first race to see where we are. But to your question about the Europeans, I mean, we knew that the Brits are very quick, and obviously we saw it as well in Blade. But same again as to the question before to the Sinkovic, it's very being able to race them is a great motivation, and having them in our category is very cool because you want to race the best, and having all the best athletes there, or all the best pairs in Blade was very motivating leading up to the Europeans. But then at the end of the day, as in rowing, I mean that's the thing of rowing. Like it doesn't really matter who you race. Like you just have to be you have to try to be as quick as possible from start to finish. And then it doesn't really matter who you race, right?
What got you through in that last 500 meters, that tenth of a second? What sort of qualities as a pair,
Roman.
or oh, he's the sprinter.
Well, we try both too, but he's got definitely some good sprinting skills. But yeah, I think the easy answer is having him, knowing that I have him in the bow, and like both like knowing him before that he can sprint, and having him in the bow seat talking to me and saying let's go. But yeah, I didn't know going through the finish line. I didn't know we won, but we just tried until the last stroke, and then we were, I guess, lucky to be that
Yeah.
bow ball in front. But it was
Do you
a very,
always?
like, we raced it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
yeah?
on.
Oh, I'm just saying it was a very tough race from the beginning, and obviously we pulled that little crab. I think it was like 300 in.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing motivates you as well. Right? It was kind of like a second start, and it kind of that race feeling. You get some energy you probably didn't know you had before. So we kind of restarted the race there, and maybe knew we had to give him more than otherwise if we didn't pull that crab. So kind of, and I think it was a tailwind, right?
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
just were fight like from that crab. We just know we had to fight all the way to the finish line, and that's how it ended up as well. A fight
Do you
until the
say?
very
Do you
last
say?
stroke.
Do you say? Do you say anything in the boat, or does Romans take control of it?
No, not during the race. Not during the race. First of all, I speak in the wrong direction, and the second
Yeah.
reason is I kind of mumble. My pronunciation is not too clear, so, so I would have to speak
Yeah.
really loud for me to hear. But I'm quite happy for him to talk, so I can focus more on rowing and steering. So I have two things I already have to focus on.
And do you always do what Roman tells you to do, or do you think, no, that's a bad call?
Totally, he's the boss. He's the boss. Yeah.
See, but
No, I
really,
mean
you're the boss because you're in the stroke seat.
he's what? Say again. So you're breaking up there.
Yeah, you're the boss because you're in the stroke seat.
Well, no, I'm just the executor, but I'm doing what he tells me to do.
Ah, yeah.
Nah, but like obviously, I think during like in a race and the race situation, you need one guy who has the calls, like two opinions in the race situation is one opinion too many, and I fully trust his calls and his situational awareness, especially with him having so much experience on that level in the rowing business. So like he's already more experienced. So I think that's another reason to totally trust him, and he has the calls. But obviously in training it's a different situation, especially maybe not in training when we row, but like in training when we spin or have a quick break. It's very much a two-way talk.
I was going to get onto this at some stage, but Cam, who's a regular viewer of Crossy's Corner, hi Cam, I hope you're enjoying the show tonight. He's asked about the comparison of Steve Gladston and Ian Wright, and in terms of, I guess, the way they coach, their manner, perhaps technical, and I'm fascinated to know in terms of the difference in the training programs. There's quite a lot there that might keep Cam Kilty interested.
Yeah, thanks Cam for that question. Hi. I think it's a bit difficult, first of all, to compare them because it's different competition, right? Like rowing in an 8 and collegiate level is very different than like for us now rowing in a pair on elite level. So training wise, I think like training philosophy, like how to lead a team, that they're similar, but like training philosophy wise, it's a bit different because now in the elite team with Ian as a head coach, like all priorities of every athlete here is on rowing, and we kind of build a life around it. Whereas in college, it's a bit different, right? You have both. It's a college crew, and kind of your studies are important as well, and the coaches know that. So the volume is obviously a lot less already. But then as a coach, I think that they have a lot of similarity.
Mhm.
And a team, and how to motivate a team, how to really. So it's kind of, as I would say, like you never want to row for your coach, right? You never want to win for your coach, but they kind of coach you in a way and talk to you in a way that at the end of the day you kind of want to win for them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like it's just they know they're both two people with big authority or bigger charisma, and they know how to like what their goals are, to set them into your mind so that you have the same goal, and to do that. And the other thing, like as I said before, to motivate the athlete, and very important, especially right leading up to race, is giving that belief to the athlete that you are able to win, and that you're going to go to that competition to go for the win. That's like, doesn't matter what you did before in training, or like how badly you did there. You're going to go there, and he gives you the belief that you're on that starting line, and you did everything right leading up to the race, and you have the skills to be able to be in front. I think that's maybe like the biggest similarity between the two.
So if your training program now is like 100%, what would you say the Yale training program was in comparison?
Depends on the month, or the which part of the season. But I mean, now we train pretty much 3 times a day, and there we trained, like, official training was 1 to 2 sessions a day. But then lots of us, I'm the lead of Tom Digby, the training wizard. Like he did like 3 sessions a day. So when he was the captain, and when you saw him before training, and his successes, he wanted to make sure you want to train as well as him as well. So if I had the time, and it was possible with work from university, maybe around, I mean, this is really like a bold guess, but like 85%, but on a normal, like, average base, it was between 60 and 70, maybe even a bit less.
We should just say about Steve Gladston, who obviously coached the American 8 at the Worlds this year, that 3 of the rowers in, I think, the British 8, Sholto, Carnegie, Charlie Elwes, and Tom Digby, who you mentioned, plus Ollie Wynne-Griffith, your opponent in the pair, all were coached by Steve Gladston at Yale.
Exactly, yeah. Steve had a bit of mark on us, and as well. I mean, there's more. There's what Dara in the Irish double as well.
Oh, of course,
and
yeah,
then Ferg in the Australian pair as well, and then Simon Keenan even. So the whole Australian pair, actually, it was Steve coached at one point. So he really left. Not just this year, I think, throughout the, I don't know, last 40 years or so, Steve has left his mark, not on collegiate rowing, but on international world rowing. He's really done a good job with that. So it's very cool to race those guys, and having trained with them before. Yeah, so it's kind of like going to a World Cup or Europeans or Worlds. Kind of feels a bit like a university reunion, which is very cool, and I'm happy to see all the boys again.
What's the hardest session that Ian Wright makes you do on the water?
The hardest session?
Yeah, for you.
Maybe it's just not. I don't think it's like one particular session. It's just the session after session. You know, the whole the combination of various sessions. Having like a hard session one day, and having another hard session the next day, and having another hard session the next day. So I think it's like a combination of a hard session. But I mean, maybe I don't know. I couldn't call you say one particular. It's like
tell me
it's
about
so many hard stuff. Sometimes it's long.
Tell me about the 1 minute sessions. Is there something like 31 minute sessions times 2 that you do?
31. I
Or
was lucky
something
enough to
like
do that
that?
so far. No, I mean no, I was lucky. I was fortunate not having done that yet. But there's loads. I mean, there's long distance, just like basically for 20K, pull as hard as you can, or I mean, one hard session is a triple treat. That's kind of the fear of everyone in the team when it comes up triple treat Friday, where we have to
Yeah,
do 3 times 15K with like every 2 hours is a starting time.
yeah,
And you basically, and then but the rate goes up. It starts on 20, 22, 24, and then the third one. But then basically, so you kind of at that rate you race for 15K, because one thing, you want to be like faster, you want to have your bow in front, but the other
yeah.
thing is that you want to be in as quickly as possible, so you make the most out of your 40-minute break you have
Oh, wow. So
until
are
the next
you
start.
like something like 4 millimoles of lactate there? Or what's your sort of thresholds? Or do you throw away your pulse meter?
Yeah, but I've done that a lot before. Like we do lactate testing, but that's just to get like the for the erg, to get like your wattage. But I don't train with heart rate. I haven't done that for. Sometimes I do it, like, but even as a junior, I never really did it, because
Mm.
every time I do it, my heart rate's so high, so like I get really annoyed, like why I'm not fit enough to have that low. Like I hear from other people, like I remember, like Jack Lopez, the New Zealander who studied and wrote with me at Yale as well. I remember he did like those like 1.5 hour sessions, 90-minute session on the erg. I don't know what he pulled, like low, like just 150, a bit below, and he had like that low heart rate. And when I do that heart rate, like when I do that split, my heart rate was so high. So just like, oh, like I don't need that negativity.
Yeah. One of the things that's fascinating is that if you take a look at your program, which is obviously quite competitive, and pull as hard as you can for those 15Ks, and was talking with Simon van Dorp of the Dutch sculler who got the silver this year, and the intensity that they do, I think they're down at like 1.2 millimoles, and they have this,
I saw that
30K.
question at the beginning. You were breaking up.
Yeah, sorry, Andrin.
When I pull hard for 15K, that's where I broke up.
Yeah, you pull half of 15K, but someone like the team from the Netherlands who got fantastic results, they're training down at below 2 millimoles on their UT2 work. Very low intensity, relatively low pulse rates, and yet clearly, they're producing great results and you're producing great results. It's like hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, we do low steady state as well. It's not like we go. It's not like we pull our. We have our sessions where we pull our heart up and lungs up, but we have like easy good steady state session as well, and then it's the butter and the bread, as you call it, to build a good steady state. So it's really the kind of combination of both, building that steady state, having good endurance base, but at the same time, you not only need to learn like those. I think those like sessions which are really hard, and you pull like on a high threshold for a long time. They're like both as physical as mental training. Like you get
Mhm.
fitter doing them, but at the same time, you just learn being on that threshold, and mentally, even if your body like hurts, pulling through. And as you said, like other teams do it differently, and like I don't know the exact training plan from Netherlands, but obviously it's working. But as in many ways in life, there's a there's many ways which lead to Rome, as they say, or lead
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
success. Uh,
Um,
and maybe at some stage, I think you realize, or like especially in rowing, obviously like all that training is building your physical base, but one part you should never miss out in rowing is the mental part, um, which you can't, like you can train as well, but there's different ways of training that. Then it doesn't really matter what kind of threshold you're on.
I guess mentally, you and Roman must be at the top of your game in terms of the way you race this season.
I mean, I know that other people should answer that, but I think I'm proud of how we handled it the season. Yeah, and I think we did it the right way. And one thing is just stay loose. Don't cramp up too much. And I mean, you've done all the training already before, and then you go to the race. And like, I think that's our biggest thing. Like, just stay loose and have fun. Have fun racing.
One reason I say that is because looking back at the season, in Varese you raced the British pair who beat you, and then in Lucerne on your home water you raced the British and I think it was the Romanians.
Romania's got second, yeah.
Yeah, got second,
Yeah.
and so you kind of had to turn things around. I don't know if Ian Wright sort of didn't taper you for those races, or you were racing tired, but you had to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said before. Any race starts from the start, from the very start again, and all the crews are at zero, no one's ahead. But still, like, we didn't go to Varese or Lucerne like not to win. We still tried to win. Like, probably obviously the focus was more in Worlds, so maybe we're a bit better prepared for that. But still, I think like for us, or like winning that bronze medal, especially like in Lucerne in front of the home crowd, was still like, yes, we wanted to win, but at the same time, I think it was important to also see the positive side of it, to see the joy in it, and to see the success. So going into Worlds, we didn't really have any like negativity or saying, oh, like now we're in the losing side. Like our like winning Europeans, like, it didn't make our expectations, or like it didn't make us attack a race differently. It's just you go to race, you train hard, and see how it goes. And you always at the start trying to win the race. And what you've done before doesn't really matter, if that makes sense. But
yeah, I just want to talk about.
There was yeah.
I just want to talk about the Worlds, but just to say to Harris Pierce, who's obviously waiting for his question, that Andrin has already talked about the Sinkovic brothers at the start of the show. So maybe if you could rewatch that to see what Andrin thinks about the fantastic Sinkovic brothers in his event, you can do that, Harris. But thanks for your question. So did you expect that to win in the World Championships in Belgrade?
I never go to race to expect. I never go to race expecting to win. But I always go to race trying to win it. If that answers your question, but
good answer.
Like we've been Roman even more, but for myself as well. I've been in the rowing. I've done many races on high levels as well, and we've been in the rowing business for long enough that it doesn't always work out, and we have too much respect from our opponents, and us only having been in the boat for a couple of months before Worlds. So I think it would have been wrong to go in that race expecting to win.
How closely did that race match your race plan?
Very much. I think, as I said before, the goal is to cross the line first in any race. So if you're able and achieve that, I think the race plan is very much achieved as well. And how you do it in the middle, it kind of is open ended. You look where you are in the middle of the race, but we didn't have the race plan to go exactly there or go exactly there. It's just trying to give every stroke, trying to move the boat as much in every stroke, and then to try to put your bow ball in front. So the answer is yes.
The Irish pair, like they surprised me. I knew they were fast because they showed speed at Lucerne, but Ross Corrigan and Nathan Timoney surprised me. They must have surprised you in that race.
In the final, no, not much. I mean, they were.
Okay.
I think in Lucerne they were first over the K as well, over half of the
Yeah.
race. Maybe you can say they surprised us there a bit, but then at the same time,
Okay.
like I don't know those two guys too much, but I know the Irish and like Dara Lynch, who's in the double. He's a very good friend of mine, and like we live together at Yale as well, together as well. So I very much know the Irish spirit, the Irish racing spirit. Um, so having them, especially early on in the race next to you, it's not a surprise at all. I know they can race those guys, and the Irish in
Did,
general
did
as well. I mean,
yeah.
if you look at the lightweight double as well, so if there's an Irish in your race, you always have to expect them.
Thank you for answering these questions. And yeah, I'm going to continue asking sort of tough questions. But did
Go
you
ahead.
think the British pair of Tom George and Ollie Wynne-Griffith were vulnerable in the third quarter?
In the third quarter,
Yeah.
no, no, I think that's kind of, I wouldn't say at all vulnerable. I mean, they, as you said before, but like Tom George is a sub 40 or Eric, and Ollie is very close to that as well. So and the third 500 is all about fitness, right? As well. So who's
Yeah. Yeah.
strong and who has some gas left in the tank. That's all about the third 500. So I think quite the opposite, especially with their erg and about the third 500. They're not vulnerable at all.
So what took you out to that 2.37 seconds margin?
Um, I mean, good. We had a very good rhythm in that race and throughout the whole world. And similar to that, maybe answering that question a bit before as well. Like lots of races are decided in the third 500, right? It depends. Like those third 500, if you have gas left in the tank, you have high chances of being in the front of the field. And I think what we're able to do during Worlds, what we're not able to do that much so in Varese and Lucerne is to find that really good efficient rhythm in the first K, which allows us to keep going on that high pace for the third 500. So I think that's what really helped us and what brought us the victory probably.
Yeah, and was that the race that you'd tapered for the most? So you're actually in your peak of shape compared to any of the other contests that you'd raced in that season?
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, it was the most important race of the season, right? With Olympic qualification on the line as well. So the season was very much focused on that event, which was easy as well, probably for training plan wise, because you had such a big training lead in front of that. I mean, it was nearly 2 months, so you could really do a whole nice progression through those 2 months leading up, and then not having any races after that. So yes, the focus was on Worlds. Yes.
Francesco Pettinella has a question for you, Andrin, about your what you're doing in terms of studying, and because you're training 3 times a day, obviously, and plans for the future. I guess that might mean in rowing or work. Thank you for your question,
Yeah,
Francesco.
totally. Yeah, thanks. So yes, I am still studying. So after I graduated from Yale in 2022, I took kind of a leave of absence for the Tokyo Olympics, which was, I guess you could say, I was one of those who kind of, not totally, but who benefited at least a bit of the COVID epidemic through the postponement of the Olympic Games. Like if they would have held in 2020, I wouldn't have been in that four. I wouldn't have any Olympic experience. And then at the same time, Yale being online gave me the opportunity to keep studying at least at the Swiss team and continue my studies online. So yeah, but then I graduated my bachelor in 2022 at Yale. But I knew very much that I wanted to do a master as well, and I think as an athlete, I think it's good, or as a rower, I think it's good to do something on the side. Like it's a great like balance. Both, I mean, we train a lot, but you still have some hours during the day, and sitting on your computer is good recovery. It's just as good as recovery as laying in your bed. I mean, as long as you get enough sleep, obviously. So I knew I wanted to do something coming back in the team, but work wasn't really an option, because I think starting is way better, because you're a lot more flexible, right, with your work, like when you work and how much every day. And then I found the cool opportunity. Like I looked at different online. I looked at masters in Switzerland as well. But all of them you had to be like present. Like there weren't any like remote or online. But then I found it so in your country, in England, in London, Imperial
Oh
College
wow.
London. I found this cool online master in business analytics, which is online, and it's quite doable with rowing on the side. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, so I keep my head busy.
That's incredible that you've got those 3 sessions a day, and you're doing a masters. Big respect for that, Andrin. Have you thought beyond, if you do get selected for Paris? Have you thought about your life beyond Paris at all?
Not too much. Like I want to like the first after. I mean, as in general, like I think in many rowers after the year after the Olympics is more to focus on the studies, right? Where you really have more years. So the first goal is to finish that master. Then that's kind of probably my priority after Paris. Um, and then I'll see. I mean, my focus at the moment is very much on Paris. I'll see how that goes, but my my love for the sport is big. So
Yeah.
anything, we'll see
Okay.
after Paris.
How did you get into it in the first place?
Through my brother, my older brother. I have one brother. He's 2 years older than me,
Yeah.
and he rode at the local club. And then I remember you can only row like in Switzerland. You can only start rowing with the age of 12. I think. I think it's
Yeah.
12, because of the boat size and the back. It's not healthy to start before. So I remember he was about 13 years old, and I was 10. I was waiting for that day when I was 12 years old, so I could join the rowing team as well, because I saw those strong big guys, and I wanted to get strong and tall as well. So I wanted to join the rowing team.
Yeah. And you won a junior gold medal in the Swiss quadruple. Was it in 2017?
2017 in Trokai, yes, exactly.
Which what did you have eyes already on? This is a sport I'm going to continue into the future at that time.
I mean, at that time, I was set to go to the States, to Yale for my studies, but I mean, one reason why I went over there, because I think it's just a lot of fun and a great university, and to row there is a great. Like, as I said, it's fun to do, but not having too much focus on what happens later. But I was very conscious of the fact that the combination of sports and studies goes very well in America, and you kind of it sets you up well for a future and professional rowing and elite rowing, because now if you've done your bachelor at an early age, or like you can do it quite quickly, or reasonably quickly, but still training on a high level, or even like I think on a very high level, and maybe you don't have that big of a volume, or like being able to do that big of a training volume, but having all those some of the best guys of rowing in your team and at other universities is so valuable. Like as you said before, like 3 guys of the English of the English 8 were there. So I remember when I joined as a freshman, looking up to those guys like Schulte, Carnegie, and Paul Chico, and being the seniors and having seen what they've won already on under 23 level was very motivating, and being able to be in the same team with them is extremely valuable. so that it shaped me as a rower definitely, and I think it was a good decision to do that as a setup for a good career in rowing.
I smiled when I looked at Giovanni Ippolito's question, because I'm thinking that outside of rowing and his masters and sleeping and eating, there's not much time left for anything else. But you could answer that question, Andrin.
So yeah. At the moment, your guess is quite spot on. Like, there's not too much free time I have at the moment with rowing and studying and having a big focus on the recovery as well, which is obviously very important. So the free time I have, I like to enjoy with friends and family and my girlfriend, just to chill out and hang. But I have loads of hobby, like especially now as winter comes and snowfall in Switzerland. I like to go skiing in the mountains, which is very cool. And then you call it a hobby as well, like, but it's good for rowing as well. It's good training, like cross country skiing.
Yeah,
Skiing is something I really enjoy. Yeah, but my hobbies are kind of on the low at the moment. But I'm looking forward maybe the year after Paris to do a bit more of that.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I was going to ask you about Tokyo because that was your first Olympics. It was a very strange Olympics. You finished in the B final 9th, I think, in the 4.
Exactly, that's spot on it.
How was that experience for you?
Overall it was a very cool experience. I think it wasn't quite the Olympic experience as the Olympic Games before, or as many other people had, or talking to Roman with me in the boat, who like compares it probably to Rio. He was in Rio already, but still, I mean, for me, it was a huge success to be at that games. And like, I mean, I'm not a guy who like plans out his years very very strictly, but if I had something like a plan, Paris, Tokyo was not part of that plan, because before COVID happened, I was very set on being in the States on campus at Yale, so I didn't see. But then being able to be there, but that was very cool, and it was a great experience. And like it was a fun team we had that for. It was a lot of fun racing with them. So overall, it was very cool. Obviously, what we missed a bit as well, but it's like, what I miss is like when you see old pictures or videos of Olympic Games, like the Olympic Games is like one, maybe apart from Henley, and like a big worlds, but like it's their race, it's the race where you have loads of spectators, where you maybe feels as a rower a bit of a bigger sports star, if you want to say like that. But having zero spectators, obviously that wasn't the fact. So I'm looking very much forward to that experience. Hopefully next year in Paris.
Yeah,
Up for that.
you mentioned Henley. I'm taking a guess that you haven't raced at Henley yet.
No, I raced twice. I was in.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah. No, I was actually. So I was in the kind of an exchange semester during high school in Pangbourne College for half a year. So I rode the, is it Folly Challenge Cup, the quad, right? The
Yeah.
Folly. Yeah.
How
Folly
did you get on?
We actually we lost in the quarterfinal against Bourlays, which is a funny story because they were coached at the time by Robin Dowell, right? And he ended up being in 2017 the head coach of Switzerland. But we did at Nat Schools, we did really well. We came third. It was like the first time I was sweeping. We did the 4 and the quad. We came third. We won the bronze medal in both. But then the Bourlays, they were like, I mean, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th year in a row, which they won Henley. So it was hard to beat those guys, and we were a bit unlucky to draw them early on, or like early on Friday. But that was fun. And then last year in 2022, we did kind of a senior senior 8 with Yale. Where we raced. It was I don't remember the name of but we raced Leander in the semis. We lost to Leander, and then Leander ended up racing Cal in the final. Is it? There's so many names.
Ladies?
There's so many challenge cups.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I think ladies. Yeah, ladies. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about Robin Dow, I just thought to ask you how Janine Gmelan's getting on in terms of her comeback.
She's actually here as well in Muckling, training as well with us, which is very cool. Having her on the team, obviously, with her past and successes, it's always good to have an experienced and good rower on the team. But yeah, I think she's doing well. She's training well, and she did well as well in some like small tests a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And obviously, another outstanding. I know there are lots of outstanding rowers in the Swiss team. Tim Roth's name comes to the fore because he was in that very fast Calais.
Exactly.
And came back late. I guess he's looking to be in the fastest boat possible for Paris.
Yeah, that's the goal of every rower, right? So we're training we're training all together in the team, and he's doing really well as well. And it's great to have he taking a leave of absence at the moment of Cal, so he's training full time with us. So it's great to have him around, and just like Janine, have a good rower in the team. It's always good to have many good rowers in the team.
I guess now, Andrin, like you've talked about heroes like the Kiwi pair or the Sinkovich brothers. I guess people are looking up to you now as
I don't know.
heroes in terms of Switzerland. Well, I think from your results, they probably are. Do you look at any of the crews around in the World Championships and think, boy, they're good. I'd like to be able to move like that boat, or I'd just like to watch them paddling up and down the course.
Yeah, I think there's many crews, but maybe I'm a bit biased because of my friends in that boat. But obviously the GBA, I really like to watch that one, and seeing them move. One which is always cool. I'd rather have it around that they're second and the Swiss lightweight first, obviously, as a Swiss. But seeing those the Irish lightweight races, it's always incredible how just they know how to get after it, and I think that's very cool and impressive and inspiring.
Yeah. And maybe just finally, in terms of camaraderie, you seem like a fantastic guy to be around. You do radiate a lot of positive energy. So in terms of the men's pairs, how friendly are the men's pairs as a sort of group of athletes in terms of talking to each other off the water or
on international level? You mean, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're very friendly, and I think it's great. I think that's one of the great things really about rowing. How is, if you want to call it like a gentleman sport, like on the water, when the sound goes off, you really kind of enemies, if you want to say like that, and you try to put your bow ball in front as much as possible. But then off the water, you can be really good friends and chat about so many things and having. I mean that's a given as well, having that mutual respect, and I think that's great. And just I think it's not just in the pair; it's rowing in general.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great sport to be part of, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I fell in love with rowing a while ago, and I'm still am.
So Andrin, I'm very conscious that you have been so generous with your time, and I thank you so much for that. We'll end the live part of this interview now, because I'm sure you've got some recovery or some computer screen at your masters to look at, or some food to eat, or something like that.
Yeah. No, we have the final of the. Luckily, we don't have any exams this semester, but we have some submissions for our final papers, which are due next week. So have to work on that a bit, you know.
So, Andrin, we'll end the live part of this interview now. You are a star. Thanks so much for being on Crossy's Corner.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.